Hello. Hello.
Oh, are we on? Okay, hi.
Sorry, we're a little slow. We got everything in one room here. Hello.
Okay, we're here. Hi. So I'm frozenflygone, and this is my partner BeanJammin.
Hello.
And thank you so much to Fastest First for having us for this panel. We're going to be showcasing Celeste map making live. Really excited to do this. We've been, making maps in Celeste for the past couple of months, and this is the first time we're really showing it live in a setting like this for a marathon. So thank you to Fastest First for having us. We'll start the timer in 3, 2, 1, and go. So yeah, we'll basically talk a little bit in our intro about how do we actually make these mods, how do you play them, and so first let's talk about Everest. So Everest is the mod loader for Celeste. It allows you to actually play all of the wonderful mods that people make, and you can get that on Game Banana just by going to Game Banana and searching Everest. So you need this if you ever want to just play mods that other people make. It also comes with a really cool feature called the speedrunning tool. So it's useful for those who also speedrun the game Celeste. On top of Everest, there's also the map maker that we're going to be using today. It's called Ahorn. And so it basically comes with all of the decals in the main Celeste game, and we're going to be working in Ahorn today. So you pretty much just go on GitHub and download Ahorn. It has a wonderful README and wiki that goes through everything.
The wiki is fantastic.
Yeah, the wiki is amazing. So basically we wanted to show you what tools we're actually going to be using today. We use Everest to play all the things that we make in Ahorn, so we're going to be using both of those. And you also need a PC copy of Celeste. But yeah, let's jump right into talking about what we're actually going to be making today. You want to talk about that, Bean?
Yeah, so back in June, we started doing Celeste modding, map making for a game jam put on by the EdgeCase Collective. And we decided to try and recreate the famous Kaizo hack Quickie World in Celeste. I always find that to be a really great place to start whenever you're starting a new, piece of art in a new medium, is take something that that you like and then try and make that in the style that you want, or in this case, the game that you want. And we enjoyed that so much, we took the 2 levels that we did in a month, and we just decided that we were going to do 15 more levels.
Yeah. So the original map that we made was called Quickie Mountain, kind of a nod to Quickie World, but put into Celeste. And now we're working on Quickie Mountain 2, and we're going to be making one of those levels today. We're actually going to be making a seaside. So our gimmick has been 2-room levels, because in Mario you just have a midway, but for the seasides we're going to be having them be 1-room challenges. So the one we're going to be making today is called Roll the Bones. If you've played Quickie World 2, it's a castle level, and we wanted to show you what the level looks like, and then the process of how we actually put it into Celeste. So let's take a look at the level.
Yeah, so this is usually how we start out the process of everything, is that we watch the playthrough. Valdio has his 100% playthroughs of all of his games on YouTube. We go and we watch that, and then we take snapshots and sort of map out the movement, which we'll look at in a second. But this is what we're looking at here. Very cool aesthetic, which is definitely something that drew us in. And the other thing that we really liked were these falling, moving platforms. And how do you translate something like that into Celeste? Because it's very interesting movement, but it's not something that directly translates. And I think that's something that helps us flex our creative muscles a little bit. So true to form, quick level,
Yep.
Certainly not an easy one.
Yeah.
So we watched that a few times, and then we break it out into this, where we have mapped out the entire level and sort of done a family circus style dotted line following Luigi's movement through everything. And we've taken some notes saying, how would this translate into Celeste? This beanstalk here looks a lot like a cloud to us.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very similar movement. What if, since we can't put these falling towers onto global cycles, what if they were falling blocks? And just sort of bouncing that back and forth. So we have a loose plan going in, but certainly plenty of room for creativity to come up as we just sort of barrel through and make tweaks along the way.
Yeah, so we're going to jump right in here. If you have any questions about modding, about how we got started with modding, any questions about Ahorn or about Everest, please feel free to ask us. We've now made 10 levels for this custom map pack, and we'll show off some of the completed levels at the end, because this is like the very beginning of a level, and then we'll show you what a completed one we've made looks like. But also what Lily says in the chat is absolutely true. If you got the itch bundle for racial equality, Celeste is in there. So you own a PC copy of Celeste and you can play mods. First question from Leaf Otter, are there popular recommended mods or map packs for speedrunners? Yes, absolutely. I would say for any player, not specifically speedrunners, but the most popular ones out right now are called Glyph, which I'm currently playing through, and the Spring 2020 collab just came out, which has so many levels.
Let's say 84?
Yeah, it
something
has
like that?
Over 80 levels.
Very good.
I think over 170 berries. I highly recommend either of those.
Yep. So let's go right into this. This over on our left now is Ahorn. It's very click and drag if you're familiar with Lunar Magic or even Super Mario Maker. It's very, very user-friendly, which is very nice. So this is a completed room, and you can see all of our decals, and everything is aesthetically pleasing here. I have, as long as Ahorn is going to be cooperative in opening up here we go. We have our skeleton of Roll the Bones, which is not as pretty as you see it over here, but it is incredibly functional to help us start out.
Yeah.
These little grid that I put in the back here are 1 Madeline tall, and it goes through the entire thing. And then we also have this green block that maps out 1 screen length. So if we go into the level now, we have a Madeline in the level, and she's not going to fall onto anything. So we can enter that level. And here we are.
Bam! So it's really cool.
We made a game. We did it. All right. Time.
So once you really just make a floor, make a Madeline spawn point, you can play around in your own level. Like, it's really fun. So yeah. Oh, and Uni noticed new icons. Yes, we'll talk a little bit about custom art that you can put into the game. One of the things you may have noticed in the menu is that, yes, you can make your own custom level icons, which Bean has made. You can make custom postcards, end cards, and that's what we'll show off in the last 10 to 15 minutes is some of the completed stuff we've done and is doable in the level. For sure. So we have this area looking out into our void, but we're not falling into nothingness. We got a little bit of floor, so that's a good place to start. We found that trying to translate these Mario levels into Celeste, even though Luigi and Madeline's movement isn't perfectly identical, they tend to be able to move the same width and height relative to the size of their game box. Yep. So we're looking at sort of this 1 green boxed in section here is going to fit in roughly with this highlighted section over here. And we like to take that 1 bite-sized section at a time and just kind of take it trick by trick, gimmick by gimmick. We were playing around with this earlier, and not to get too inside baseball about it, but we're going to have to do a little bit of fun stuff to make sure that these falling blocks work right. We have a basement. But all this really means is that this red line here is going to be our floor, our true floor. Madeline's not going to be able to go beyond this. Yep. So we were talking about earlier how that big pillar in the level has to fall, and then you're able to use the green beam to get over it. We don't really have a way to time anything to fall, but what we can do is have the player grab onto a falling block and then jump back and have to jump over it. So that's kind of what we were thinking for this first trick. We also kind of, in the Mario ROM hacking community, everything is kind of divided up into tricks. That's how we like to think about it here too. So we're focusing on this first trick, jumping off the dry bone, jumping onto the green bean, and getting around. We're going to try and do it, grab onto the wall, make it fall, and what are we going to use for the dry bone? What do you think?
I'm feeling bumper.
Yeah.
It's a seaside. Bumpers are pretty wily. I'm feeling bumper.
Yeah. There's really two options here, I would say, are the bumper or the spring to emulate jumping off the dry bone. We don't really have enemies in Celeste you can bop on in that kind of way. So let's throw a bumper in. I agree with that. And then green bean is you kind of have a one chance to jump off of it in terms of the timing. Technically in Mario you can jump off the green bean as many times as you want, but due to the nature of the level, you have to do it right away. So to us, that means a pink cloud because you can only use it once, or also called a fragile cloud in Acorn.
Yep. So right up front here though, when Luigi starts out, he is not on safe ground.
Yes.
If Madeline walks out on not safe ground, she's going to fall before we have control over her. We've done this many times where we'll have Madeline just sort of waltz into a room with battling chasers, and the chasers will get right to her before the player's even allowed to control her movement.
Yeah.
And something else here is that we want to make sure that we jump or we hit some sort of entity to activate this red kill box before. So we were talking, what if this falling block is instead a crumble block that we have to come off of?
A lot of times we translate the gray falling block into a crumble block. Also, since we're at the seasides, we've introduced tech. We've taught wave dashing, we've taught wall bouncing, so all that stuff is fair game. We taught those in earlier levels. So, we can have a wave dash here. We can have a hyper here if we wanted to. And that's what I think we were thinking about, is having to jump onto the crumble block and do a wave dash, similarly to how you have to just really quickly jump off of that as you spawn to the level.
Mm-hmm. Let me throw this out to you. To make sure that there's no issues with Madeline possibly just walking straight off and missing this, what if it was instead a spring and to walk up and then you hyper it off?
I'm into that.
Because this spring will make sure that you can't get off the ledge without activating this box.
Sure.
You saw me over here in placements, really easy. Entities, which is essentially anything that Madeline interacts with that is not the floor or ceiling. So that's all of the birds, the battling chasers, the bumpers, the blocks. I'm going with all of the bees.
It works. We just had bug fables.
Exactly.
Bees are on the mind. I get it.
That's why. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So incredibly friendly design. You can see here, this is before I saved. This is in
before you saved?
Before we saved. I'll
no.
go back here, and I've added my two entities. Control S. Back in. There they are.
Yeah,
They're
it's
right here.
really nice. Like if you're able to just instantly load into Everest and play your stuff.
So we can test it trick by trick, just shift things around a little bit. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I like it.
It
has the same energy of you need to jump right away.
Yes.
You walk right onto the spring and go.
Well,
I like that. I like that a lot. It feels smooth.
Is this in the right spot though?
It's good. That's a good question. It might need to be a little further to the right, actually.
A little further right, maybe a little more up.
I would say it maybe a teeny bit up, but definitely right.
Okay. So this is why we like the grid so much, so that we can go up, and we know exactly where it was.
Yep.
We can kind of follow that line a little bit better. Yeah,
that feels better. Yep.
And we can also see now that with a wave dash and extension, we get to our green line. And so we know that when we want to end up on the bumper, we can put the bumper
line it up
right before this green line. And the beautiful thing about this is that we can have our falling block that we want to grab onto on this green line, and we know that that is going to be within view when you start up. You can look at the whole first trick while you are on safe ground, which is a really appreciated thing by a lot of our playtesters.
Visibility is huge. That's something you always got to think about. Something that goes into post-production of these levels is a lot of camera work, making sure there are ways for you to change the camera to allow the player to see what's coming up ahead. So a lot of the post-production work we do is with camera triggers and also graphics, of course.
So let's make this rock.
Let's make it rock.
Let's make it rock. Just kidding. Maybe it's stone.
Yeah, I think it's stone.
No, it's stone. Don't listen to me before. It was stone.
Yeah.
So this will be our falling block. These are those blocks that you see in Celeste that once you grab onto it or you stand on top of it, they begin to fall. The reason that we have this basement down here that we're not allowed into is that we can set, let's also make this stone. Sorry, here we are. We can set something here so that the falling block will come down on top of it and it will stop, because otherwise it would just fall forever.
All the way off screen, which we don't want to see that.
No. So we can just hit save again. There we are.
There's
Beautiful.
a bumper. Hi. So that's kind of the vision. You know, we're thinking about that. How are we going to ensure our player knows to grab it? That's something, you know, think in the mind of how is the player going to know they don't want to just try and jump over it immediately? So what we're thinking is, okay, tell the player where they can't go with some spikes. And also just make it a little bit more perilous because there's a bumper. So you have to, you know, control Madeline well with the bumper. So adding spikes to this wall and then have the spikes not be there at the top where we want them to grab.
If this keyboard is being friendly again.
Yeah.
That is all right. We've had a little bit of keyboard issues here. There we are. So it's important that we keep our dash if we want to continue going upwards onto what we have decided is going to be that beanstalk cloud sort of thing. So that decides where we can grab onto here, right? Is, you know, if we hit bumper and it takes us to the second orange block underneath the green line, which would be right here, is our safe place to grab. We can go into placements, have this nifty little search tool down on the bottom. That's just the sub bar that you usually see.
Yep.
And we can look up spike, and boy, do we have spikes.
Yes. All the spikes you could dream of. Spikes and spinners are standard obstacles here, so we want to put a bunch of spikes on that on the wall, except where Madeline is going to go. So
let's try this out first.
I think it might be a little tight, but we'll see.
It's a seaside, right?
Yeah, but oh my goodness. That's scary. I'd probably give it one more tile either side.
All right. Up or down?
I think.
Let's look at that.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I want to say up.
I think up. Oh. I think up feels best because you're going to jump off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool thing about spikes is that they'll only kill you in one direction. So even if Maddie's head goes inside of a spike, if you're moving away from it, you're going to be okay. But we still want to give the player the idea that, oh, I can jump away from this spike and I'll jump away from this wall and I won't die.
So then from that movement, I'm gauging the cloud to be roughly here. Yeah. And it's important to make sure that your players don't see or can skip necessary parts of your puzzle. So we want to make sure that the cloud is at least far enough away where even if they don't see the place to grab right away, they can't get to that cloud and go, now I'm stuck up here. Right. Instead, you're stuck. Why can't I get to this cloud? What do I have to do instead?
Yep, absolutely. But there's also a thing where we are also designing this game for it to hopefully be speedrun by people who play Celeste. So there are times when we will put in, deliberate skips for people, and that's going to allow, because we want the speedrun to be also fun and dynamic. So we get a lot of feedback from speedrunners as well. Yeah, having a little bit of keyboard issues here, but it's okay. Just testing at this point. So we can definitely make this barrier much taller.
We can make the barrier taller. I think we can also push that cloud up a little bit.
Yeah, because the goal is, you want to get onto the wall without using your dash, and then jump off the wall and get to the cloud. So if you accidentally use your dash getting to the cloud, or getting to the wall, you have to go back onto the bumper, or you can just go right away if you've saved your dash. So it's completable either way. Obviously, faster to save your dash.
Count with me here in chat. How many orange tiles above this green line are we going off this cloud? Oops, just kidding. Here's another great thing that we found. This comes preloaded with Everest. Don't get me wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Debug mode.
Debug mode is part of the base game. You can turn it on.
Okay, excellent. So we can. Excellent part of the Everest debug mode. This is what I'm thinking of. Is that so we can go into debug mode. Look at this beautiful debug mode here. we can press Shift and click, and we can end up anywhere in the level that we want to. And then when we die, we respawn at that place.
Yeah, it essentially makes like little save states for you. That is a part you need Everest for.
Mm-hmm. So I want to say that we can go 3 blue tiles above the green.
Yeah, and I think we want them to right dash through it. Boop.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Boop.
So you may be thinking this is pretty sparse right now, but we want to get our sort of the skeleton of the movement and then go back in and we'll add in all of the less than necessary spikes.
Yep. We don't want to make it super difficult for us to be testing the level as we do it, so we add in all of the obstacles at the very end.
3 tiles, which means that this needs to go 3 tiles higher than where it will end.
Yep.
Whoops, and that means that I will start spawning in the middle of nothingness.
Awesome.
Yeah?
Nice.
All right.
Yes, Lori is one of our playtesters.
Lori is one of our wonderful playtesters.
It's really awesome. And as we're going through this, just a reminder that Fastest First Fall Festival is raising money for Trans Lifeline, which is really amazing. Over the $5,000 mark, really happy.
That is fantastic.
We still have much more content to come, but this has been a really great event so far. And so, just a reminder that that's what this event is all about, is raising money for that amazing organization.
Absolutely. Yeah. So why don't we switch gears a little bit and actually fill this out, because we've been playing with just entities so far. The other thing I want to look at is our foreground and background tiles. All of our orange and blue checkers in the back, those are background tiles, which are purely aesthetic. You can't interact with them in any way. Our foreground tiles are what act as our walls, floors, ceilings, anything that is an immovable object.
Yep.
And they are all skinned like this in the vanilla game, and there are some really great templates on the wiki to be able to upload and create your own foreground tile skins that you can just upload and use that directly in the game. We've done that in a few of our levels, but I've not set that up here to show that off, unfortunately. But we can look at, we were talking about, we want it to be stone. So let's make everything else around this stone as well.
Right, so we come out of the level, we come out of this silver pipe, which, you can make that sprite. We have a few pipe sprites in the game so far, and also these dice sprites. And so you wanna show off some of the custom sprites?
Oh, you wanna show off my art?
Yes.
So a little bit different, but still just aesthetics, are decals. And these are our fence posts. These are our big signs. You know them. You love them. Our boxes. All of these stuff, again, that you can't interact with in the game, but really adds flavor and aesthetic to the whole place. You can make pixel art on your own. Celeste is a 180 by 320 aspect ratio game. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, please. But that means that, Madeline is 16 pixels tall. This box is probably 8 pixels tall. And so a pixel art creator is a really, really helpful tool to be able to make something that size. Let me show you why. Flower House, that is our studio name. So I've made some custom dice here. This first dice I made with making a higher resolution dice and having Celeste downscale that to the pixel ratio that I set it to. And then here is one that I made pixel by hand in a pixel art editor. And you can see it just has much cleaner lines, a lot more intent around this curve here. But since Celeste and Mario are pretty similar, we can just make our own pipes, right?
Yes!
And I found if we have this as a foreground tile, that means it's going to be placed in front of Madeline at all times. We can just place it here. If I hold Control, we can adjust it by pixel until it is exactly where we want it to be. And that's a little bit too high. Oops. And let's take this, put that there. Perfect.
So yeah, now you want to load back into the level and show how Madeline's going to walk out of the pipe.
That's right. So here's what our level looks like now. If we restart chapter,
Da-da-da-da!
Madeline walks right out of a pipe like she's in Mario.
Just like Mario does, which I think is really cute. So yeah, it's like, there's some small stuff we've kind of imported from Mario that kind of gives it its own little custom flair, and I really love that. So it's like you got the little pipe. We're gonna have the dice as decorations. As we talked about at the beginning of the stream, this level is called Roll the Bones, and that's a reference to how dice used to be made out of bones. And this whole level is just based around the concept of dice. At the end, when you get to the door, it says jackpot over it. And so the name of this level in our completed thing is going to be called Lady Luck, as a reference to that. And so, just have some cute custom art to make it feel unique and like its own. So yeah, I want to showcase that too.
So now we can kind of compare our two references here. Here's our first screen that we see when we load up Celeste. We've got our crumble block. We have our bouncy friend, and then this tower going up that we have to get over top of. It's not a perfect one-to-one recreation, but that does give the same gameplay feel, and that's really something that we're trying to go for. So we're not trying to make exactly Mario in Celeste. We're trying to make a Celeste game inspired by Mario.
Exactly. So yeah, we want to try and tackle this next trick.
Let's do it.
Before we do that, wanted to say we have $1 from Oasis that says boop, boop, boop. And we also have $10 from Anonymous. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So let's go. Whee.
Oh, see there, in that case, in the real level, there's going to be spikes there. Yeah, nice. So yeah, that's the concept. You hit the bumper, grab the wall. We're going to have to dash right. And now we're going to start falling and thinking about what are we going to have for the next trick. So we want it to be visible. That's going to be some, as we're falling. The concept is that that Madeline is going to stay in the air, bounce, bounce, bounce. So I'm thinking a spring for this next bounce probably. And then that maybe falls, because that gives the idea you can only use the spring once, just like you can only use the dry bone once. And then thinking about, okay, is this going to be kind of a precise jump, something like that. In the middle, I see another jump off a spring, but into a wall bounce.
Yeah,
probably.
We're seeing the same thing here. This is a wall bounce. You can't draw that and say that's not a wall bounce.
Exactly. So just taking a look at what comes next. So we want to kind of set up our falling spring.
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to do the same sort of entity that we had before, our falling block, and place it one spring wide.
I think so.
One spring wide.
Definitely.
And put a spring on top of it, spring up. And there we go. That's our falling block. We'll have to figure out a good place to put it, but at least it's there now.
Yep, it exists. Let's kind of see coming off of this. Oh, hello.
I'm sorry about that, Madeline.
Madeline got really squished there. That was funny.
So let me see if I can start here, have this fall.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oops.
Got to make sure you get a good bounce off that cloud.
You really do.
Yeah, I kind of like that. You're pretty much just holding right to get to that, and that's how it kind of feels in the Mario level. You're kind of just bouncing and maintaining your momentum here. Whoop. And thinking about what's our next obstacle going to be.
So this spring is a little bit lower than where our cloud is. It's also going to give us a whole lot less height.
Yes.
Do we want to just try and condense this to match the movement here at the very beginning and then turn that into a wall bounce? If we took a rectangle and just put it here, it would have to be much closer.
Okay.
And a little bit lower.
Sure.
And these are narrower anyways. Narrower.
Yep, let's go over here. Oh.
Nailed it.
And that's the other thing, just in thinking about how Kaizo functions. If you never played a Kaizo ROM hack before, you basically just get one chance at everything, and you have to kind of discover the tricks as they go. We don't really use binoculars in this map for that reason, just as a stylistic choice.
I think if we put another falling spring block that is symmetrical in placement to where this one is, they would line up pretty well.
Okay. So yeah, and then we're gonna, since it's a seaside, we're gonna be adding more obstacles to this. But for now, we're just trying to get the basic flow of what is going on.
And I will start over here now, so I can go. I bet I can.
I think it could be even a little taller, a little tighter.
I was gonna make it a little bit wider. You want to try and make it a little bit taller?
Oh, the spring?
I was gonna push this over to our right.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Let's try 2. That might be a little too wide. Oh no, we got so much room.
Yeah, you can even push it even farther.
Push that so far away.
Yeah, of course. If you're just joining us, have any other questions about basically anything Celeste, but also Celeste map making, we'd love to answer them.
Flygon is an excellent Celeste speedrunner as well. She sees things in this game that I could only dream of seeing. But
it's good to have perspectives from a speedrunner and a non-speedrunner.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely sometimes, like, I speedrun Farewell, right? And we made a jellyfish level. And I was like, oh, this is easy! And Bean's like, no, this is too much. And, had to scale it back a little bit. So it's good to get a variety of perspectives. That's why we have like probably 20 to 25 different playtesters. And we constantly ask them for advice, make revisions. It's really fun. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Does it look like oops.
I think the ceiling could probably be farther up.
Yeah, I want the wall bounce to be on the lowest part. I think I'm wall bouncing on the lowest blue tile.
I think so too.
Let's watch that back. Whoop.
So yeah, we're trying to line up for a nice wall bounce here. Which just means dashing against the wall and jumping like that.
Yeah.
Gets you a lot of height and distance. That's a speed tech that's taught to you in the Summit B side. So we're trying to line it up. We kind of try to color code things in a way that allows our players to know what's going on. So a lot of our wall bounces have actually been this gray stone. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what this keyboard is complaining about today.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's not being incredibly friendly.
When designing a challenge level, are there any common pitfalls you can anticipate? Tricks like neutral hopping off walls come to mind. Yes, we joke all the time about stop neutraling off my walls. So there's a level that we made that has Theo in it, and a lot of our playtesters just completely ignored the intended solution and just Theo neutraled up the wall. And some of that stuff, it's just like, you're playing the beta, we're gonna patch out some solutions that we didn't think about.
It's an excellent thing for your playtesters to do, is to go into it and say, what do I see is the right thing to do? And I love having our playtesters stream. One of our playtesters actually streamed us last night and gave us very great specific critiques on where our cameras can improve.
Yeah.
And so having them go in first and say, what do I see is the right thing to do? And then going in a second time and saying, how can I break this?
Yes.
Is an excellent, excellent skill for all of our playtesters to have. And we are incredibly appreciative for them to just tear our levels apart to make them better.
Yeah. And in terms of like, we got to design around, some exploits that can happen. Sometimes the exploits aren't a huge deal. If it just means that you get to go faster by doing something hard, that's fine. That's speedrunning. But it's when it becomes this is unclear that we want to change it. We care a lot about clarity. So like, there was one level we made where people were just completely misdirecting. They weren't seeing where to go. And so we had to kind of guide them back towards the right place. And that's something to think about, is like, okay, we both know the solution. So we got to give it to people who don't know the solution and see how do they look at it and how can we make that clear. So we like to use indicators to teach players where to go, because in Mario, coins are used as indicators, and so we're kind of doing that here with lanterns.
We kind of gave ourselves an additional challenge here, where in Celeste there was a lot of tricks that we put into this mod where we go, well, that would have been one room, and this would have been one room, and this would have been one room. And the playing challenge of it is stringing all of that together.
Yep.
But the design challenge of that is making sure that it flows well from trick 1 to trick 2 to trick 3 without, the camera, making you queasy almost.
Yep, exactly. So it's like, this is the very beginning of production. There are a lot of steps that go through in terms of, okay, level design revisions, but also aesthetic revisions. Thinking about, can my players see this well? Is there visual clarity?
All right.
Nice.
We can get over top of that for sure.
Cool.
Let's make it a little bit further away, I think.
Sounds good.
It is one of those pitfalls of having this grid like this, is that I want it to sit on the grid, and it is illegal in my brain for them to sit halfway.
Off of
that doesn't really,
yeah, exactly.
mean much. Man. Woo.
Nice. So
All right.
getting around that, using that wall bounce to get around. Because it's like in Mario, it's actually really tricky to just line up correctly and jump off these dry bones. But Madeline has a lot more control. There's not as much of the momentum carrying in Celeste like how you do in Mario. So we can't just be like, okay, jump off this spring 3 times. That's not very challenging, even though it's very challenging in the original level.
Yeah. And I can already see sections. Maybe we can go back. Say you finish one more trick, and then we can go back and try and polish things up. Try and add a little bit more to it to go
Definitely.
through a more complete process here at the beginning.
Sure.
Where I know right now that we're gonna have to cut back some of these wall placements because we're gonna add spikes on the end of them.
Yep. Exactly.
But it's nice to have it out a little bit too far, because sometimes Celeste is such a forgiving game that it seems so much more tight than it actually is.
Yep, and that reflects exactly what Namas just said. Like, the hitbox are way more lenient in Celeste than they are in Mario. Mario, any part of a spike can kill you.
You can show this off even. I forget to do this all the time. This is something that we do.
Yeah, this is cool.
If you're, I don't even think you need Everest for this. If you have debug
mode. You
mode,
need debug mode. Yep.
You just hit tilde, and all of these red boxes are hitboxes. The green is Madeline's hitbox, which you can see is so much smaller. You can see on these springs here, the hitbox is a few pixels above where it sees, so you can get pretty close to a spring, and the game will give the movement in your favor. More often than not, that is true. The game wants you to succeed. The hitboxes are much smaller.
Yep. So it's really cool. You can do hitbox analysis of like, oh, where did I get hit there? How far out is that spike going to kill us? And make adjustments based on that.
So here's another falling block.
Yep.
If we grab onto it again, that's boring.
That's the same thing.
We've already done that.
Right.
How can we make this? I'll say it. How can we make this more difficult?
Sure. So, with falling blocks, you have to grab onto it, stand on it, or hit something it's attached to, which kind of comes up in Farewell. There's a long vertical room with a room with falling spikes with springs. So how about this one? You have to hit a spring and hit another spring and then get over.
To hit a spring, hit another spring, get over.
There's 2 springs on it. There's one spring at the bottom you hit, and then another spring you hit as it's falling, and then get over.
Oh, you want multiple springs on this one falling?
Absolutely!
Oh boy.
This is a seaside!
All right, so do we want this setup taking another one of these and placing it here like our third dry bone friends?
I was thinking so.
Okay.
I think we would have one more bounce.
So let's set that up first, and then, excuse me, see where we need this placed to start that.
Absolutely. And Lily says, Madeline's hitbox for interacting with objects and walls and the hurtbox for death are different, and the hurtbox is smaller. Absolutely. Farewell did add a lot of new assets and concepts. So yeah, we've made a level designed around jellyfish. We've made a level designed around pufferfish. So those are 2 of the new mechanics that were expressed in Farewell. Also, double dash crystals were introduced in that, and we've definitely used double dash crystals. In terms of space that's unexplored, I mean, with the Spring collab, there feels like there was a level for every mechanic that's ever been made, honestly. But in terms of our map, we haven't really touched Dream Blocks quite yet as a mechanic. We made a Theo level, we made a Battlein level, so...
I like to think a lot of the levels when we go into them is calling them oops all levels. Like we have an oops all clouds.
Yep.
Oops all auto scrollers.
Yeah.
And this is sort of an oops all falling blocks level.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have your brain be in that one mindset of like, these are going to be falling blocks. I can't trust any of these to stand on the ground after I touch them.
Right. We wanted there to be a holistic theme within the level itself, not throw a bunch of random stuff at the board. We try and limit the different amount of mechanics we put into each level, because otherwise it can be really overwhelming. And that's not really how the base game works. There's not a lot of combination of the different mechanics besides in, obviously, Summit.
So, let's go back and try and set this up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And have these, I don't think the player will notice if it goes down a little bit.
No, I like it going down a little bit.
But that will give us more room for this to be able to fall.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking that last spring should be lower anyway, probably.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wanted this last spring to be lower. I didn't want it to be such a long drop to get there.
Exactly.
So that means this wall bounce can get extended down the tiniest bit. We have a special guest in the room, and Flygon is getting very excited.
Come on, come here. Oh yeah, look it. This is our favorite map designer. We've got Sirius with us. Everyone, you want to say hi to Sirius?
Say hello to our kitty.
Hey!
Kitty, say hello to chat.
He loves hanging out during our map making streams. How do you like this level so far, baby? He's there.
Yeah.
He's there. He loves looking at all of our numbers. Oh, I'm sitting in my lap for a little bit. See if you'll poke his head out.
Don't eat me. I do not taste good. I promise.
This is Sirius. One of our levels is named after him, Sirius Bank. He's just a good little kitty cat.
Oops.
Uh-oh, he's getting a little tangled.
There we go. Mess of wires over here. And electricity is Sirius's favorite food.
Yes, you can also donate, and I will grab Sirius again. That's true.
What do we want? Spring. Spring left. Maybe.
Sirius lurk. Yeah, we have Sirius emotes in our channels. Every time he comes on stream, you gotta put Sirius emotes in the chat.
Let's try this out now. We got springy spawn. Wall bounce.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of the concept. So you use the spring and then you gotta hit the spring again.
Let's have this go all the way to the ceiling here.
Glad he got to be on stream during this event. Feels fitting.
He's usually pretty camera shy, but he just loves Celeste a little too much to stay away.
Yep. I saw the cat again.
I think we can get 2 springs and then a dash across.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's a good concept.
I don't know if our ceiling is high enough to get 3 springs in there, but it is 3 dashes if you think about it that way.
Yes, exactly.
And 3s just sort of feel good. I don't know what it is about it, but rules of 3s are true in almost everything.
Okay, It needs to be a little farther down, I think.
A little lower. Yep.
Yes, Sirius is a good kitty.
Oop.
A little too far off the wall, yep.
That's on me, though. Maybe a little bit lower, even? This might be something where I need to hand this off to you and see where it actually feels good.
Yeah, the thing about springs is that it actually really matters where you jump on the spring, where Madeline's going to be positioned. How about the top spring? You need to dash much sooner, I think.
Top spring you need to dash sooner.
Like you waited a long time to dash, and that's why you were so far left. The first dash is perfect. You waited, go. I'm saying that one.
So you want going to the second spring to be sooner.
No, I want you, once you get on the second spring, to dash faster. Kind of like how we do in terminal velocity. You have to cancel the dash quickly.
I got you. You're a little bit ahead of me here because I don't. This is just following infinitely.
Oh, okay. Then that's that. Yeah.
So let's set a place for this to end. And how high that ends up will dictate how soon you have to dash afterwards.
Sure. And also, by my count, we have about 15 minutes left of the panel. I think, staff, if that's inaccurate, please let me know. We can't actually see the stream overlay, but I have 15 minutes left on my timer. So I'm going to showcase some finish levels in a few minutes here.
The other thing that we could maybe do, I don't know if it reads right. I mean, that just might be it. Is this wire? Thank you.
Awesome.
Whoop. I think that's right. All right, let me move this mess of wires over here and hand this off. Get a second opinion on a lot of these placements. We like to get a lot of this in because once we start adding spikes, especially once you start adding spinners, if you need to move one thing, you need to move 20 things. And so if our movement feels right at the beginning, then we can add our springs without too much gripe.
The microphone's in my way.
Oops.
But it's okay. I'm trying my best. Yeah, that might be a little tight.
Yeah, I'm sure once we put a spike on it. This part feels good. You just have to get really on the top of the bumper, which is the challenge, but I like that. But on the bumper, you get multiple tries.
Yes, so that's good. Yeah, see, I dash off the spring really quickly, which is just a me thing. I'll learn, I need to wait to use my dash on that spring. There, I'm just holding right too much. It's important to, play through it. What feels comfortable, what doesn't. Yeah. Nice. That's cool. Yeah.
So it makes sense?
Yeah, I like that position. You definitely can't dash right away on the spring. You gotta wait a little bit. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just a part of what you have to do. But then on the second one, you have to go much faster.
So let's go in and we'll talk about a lot of the more fun entities. That is, the ones that kill you.
Yeah.
So you might have heard us say spinners before. Those are the, oops, if I can spell, spinners. These little circular spiky boys.
Yeah.
I'm feeling to try and match these red.
Yeah.
Is doing the red.
Definitely the red spinners.
And just put them on the ceiling. You can't get to the ceiling. There's no reason to put them here other than
aesthetics.
For aesthetics.
Yeah. But a big part of it is, making the levels be pretty. Making them look aesthetically nice. Stylistic choices.
Yeah. But there is this right here. That can certainly get you.
Yep.
And we want to put spikes on the other end of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure they can't grab on.
But this thing, I think these will all be dice. So aesthetically, we want to put the white spikes.
Yes, I super agree.
So if you want to put in some dice right now, might as well, right?
Do we want to put spinners below just because this guy is standing on a red dice?
Sure, why not? That's fun.
So we can go back here and we can look up spike. I think we're only going to be using white spikes here, but we have a lot of options. We have our blue sharp spikes that you see in Chapter 4 of Celeste. Just the default pointy ones. The default pointy ones, but with an extra outline. The crystal ones, but pink. Some tentacles, which have some fun animation added to it. So a lot of options. These are just from the vanilla game too. There are a lot of dependency packs that people have made that make you can make these spinners whatever color you want. You can have custom tiles, custom clouds, custom bubbles, bumpers, custom anything in the game. Skateboards, Mario shells.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Some really, really incredible stuff made by our community. But we definitely want to take the opportunity here, not bite off more than we can chew. And we've kind of given ourselves a silent
Constraint.
Thank you. A silent constraint of only using the stuff in the base game that's given to us.
Exactly.
So we want spikes on top of this too. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
So we can put these up there. They're munchers. Should we put some tentacles on it?
Let's put some tentacles.
Put some tentacles on it?
Yeah.
So spikes will automatically attach to these falling objects. So you'll see now, here are all of our lovely friends that want to make the level harder, and they seem to be doing a pretty good job of it right now.
Yeah, it definitely makes this area a lot more precise.
Yeah, I'll just stand here. Oop. So you can see when the falling block fell, all the spikes attached to it went to it.
Which is really helpful.
And so we can go back in and we can add some dice. Oops. I want to make this a foreground tile so that it goes in front of everything here.
Yeah, so we basically can, make the outline dice, which I think is super cute. Just matches the theme of the level so well. And just the little pixel dice are adorable.
Yep. We can add anything that we want. Truly anything that we want in this level can just show up here. You want just giant decals of this marathon's mascot?
A PB.
You can absolutely do it.
Here, show it in Celeste.
So you'll save.
Yeah, let's go. PB is officially in Celeste. This is canon now.
It's true.
Just saying. So yeah, it just shows you can make whatever you want. So yeah.
Let me get rid of this real quick because it is a foreground tile. It's a background tile.
There we go. So yeah, Beans made some really cool pixel art for this game so far.
I want to show off some. You can make custom NPCs that have their own animations to them.
Yeah.
And real quick, this is going to drive me nuts. All right, I feel better. So yeah, we just go down and play with the entity list here.
Sure.
We can go to NPC, custom NPC, which is a preloaded with Everest. So as long as you have Everest as your only dependency, you can do what you need. And you can use any of the sprites in the existing game. You can also upload your own. Everything in the wiki will tell you where to place things, but it is very important that you name everything the same as they are in Celeste and are placed in all of the same folders. So once you've done all that work, making sure that is exactly what it's going to, where it's supposed to be, they will pull right up. So if we look for Flygone. Woo!
Yay!
You can be a bug catcher now.
Yay! So there's a little Flygone! And it has a little animation as well, so you can control how fast the sprite rate is. Just me.
That's right. We can have... Oops. I think that's why I called it. Oh, yes.
Look at it's
our
the
little
kitty!
too. It's not a game unless you can pet the dog. In our case, we're going to be able to pet the cat.
Yes! So that's serious.
Let's get the spring out.
Yeah, move the spring so we can see Sirius in all of his glory.
Oh,
yes!
hello, buddy.
He's so cute! Y'all got to see the real life inspiration, so now you get to see Sirius. So we've shown off our map making process for this level. Let's showcase a completed level. Want to show off the first level of the path?
Sure. Do you want to drive?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, spring strong. So as we were saying before, this is actually the 11th level in our pack that we're going to do. It's a seaside. What we're going to show off is why don't we go in fully so that we can show off a little bit more onto a fresh file here. We can have our own custom icons.
Yeah, so Bean made this icon. This is going to be the very first. No, it was Sirius. The decal was Sirius, our cat. So this is our very first level titled Terminal Velocity. That's what the inspiration it has. And here we go.
We can have our own postcards, so just like at the beginning.
Madeline start. So now, here we go. This is Terminal Velocity, and the gimmick is that you immediately start the level by falling. And so you just jump right in. That's exactly how it is in the Mario level as well. We've got Kevin here.
I think it works as a good first level, especially for our pack, because it tells you that you can't fully trust us as game devs. You can't try and get the microphone out of your way there a little bit. You can't have any safe ground in this level.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single place that you can stand that is just 100% safe. If you collected a berry, it would not collect in this level.
Yeah, so some stuff you can see here. A lot of the background decals. You can see the happy clouds from Mario in the background. The lanterns that we use as indicators throughout. This is kind of the introduction to that of like, follow the indicators and they're going to lead you to the right place. You can wholly trust us with these indicators here. So it's like it leads you to hitting Kevin, and I keep missing Kevin because that's how everyone exists in this level. But yeah, so the joke is, you're consistently falling. And there are definitely parts of this in Celeste, like in the reflection portion. But we did the entire level around this gimmick. Come on, right, Dash? I believe. Woo! Yes. Okay.
So now, right here, we're like, how are we going to do a shell jump? How are we going to mimic that? How are we going to mimic regrab? You'll see a little bit later.
There's our checkpoint.
Yep, see our H.
Oh! Have the Dust Bunny cycle there. I was a little off cycle.
Yes, Kevin is our friend, our block with the face that we dash into.
So a little bit of a puzzle with Kevin. We've got these Dust Bunnies. Yeah, the indicators are something we really wanted to transfer from Mario to Celeste because I don't really think they're utilized nearly as much in a lot of custom maps, and we wanted to be able to show players where to go without giving them binoculars.
Yep. Something else that I really enjoy doing is asking questions of what happens when you take this entity and you combine it with this entity. What happens when you have bubble plus cloud? Because that's not something that you see in the original game. What happens when you have battle and chasers in a cassette room? How can you make interesting new levels with our existing properties?
Exactly. So that's the custom postcard as well. And you can also have the custom heart text. So this level is called Donut Chasm. And then, there's also a cassette room that I'll show off. You can see that it's hidden in the first checkpoint. So spoilers for any of you people who are going to play Quickie Mountain 2 someday. But this is one of the areas we've hidden the cassette. So instead of taking Kevin all the way down, boop, you take it right back up and there's a hidden room. And this takes us to our first cassette room. So as we mentioned, there are B and C sides. So you have to get all of the cassettes to be able to unlock the B sides. So we've also made custom cassette rooms. This is the very first one.
This is where we got to learn a lot. We had no reference for it, but we at least had a strong idea of that level's gimmick. So if this level's gimmick is falling all the way down, what if we spun that on its head and we had to climb all the way back up?
Yeah.
Using these cassettes. We don't have the click track in our ear right now, so the timing I'm sure is not as
I cannot hear the music. So, but bouncing off the heart at the end, we did that on purpose. That definitely can happen to you. I forget where I'm supposed to go. Here we go. I believe I made this and it's still hard.
Somebody was mentioning the custom chapter clear end card at the very end. If you go to the Celeste Ahorn wiki, you can find the graphics package. So I've downloaded a folder that has every single piece of art that exists in Celeste. All of the icons, all of the background stuff that you see here, all of the pixel art, and all of the end cards. So we are able to take those and manipulate them, and just make some really interesting new environments.
Yeah. And so, the cassette unlocks the B-side. I won't play through this one, but also Bean has also written all original music for this. So the track that you heard, that's original. They don't have audio.
Music. No.
But that's okay.
It'll be a secret.
It'll be a secret.
Go to my SoundCloud.
And so this is the B-side, which I won't spoil. But it works just like in Celeste. You unlock the cassette, it gets you to the B-side, and you're able to play it that. And then once you beat all the A and B sides, you'll see the C sides, which Roll the Bone was one of them. So thank you so much to Fastest First for having us, allowing us to make a little bit of the level on stream. Hopefully showcase that it's not this scary thing. Like, anyone can make maps.
You can be a game dev.
Yeah, and I absolutely recommend giving it a try, and feel free to reach out to us if you're interested and want any help in getting Everest or Ahorn. But yeah, thank you so much to the staff for having us for this panel.
Yeah,
and have a great rest of the marathon.
Have a good one, y'all.
Yeah.